Unrestrained again. It has been a while, but we're back. To me, it's just Payson and myself, so let's just go ahead and jump right into a topic. So we're going to be talking a little bit about just Star Wars and what is coming up next, what we expect from it, and how disappointed we might be.
That's a little bit too hard hitting, but all right. It's not. That's too much close. That's too close to the truth. I'm gonna be real with you. So.
Well, maybe. But it's just.
Because
I just don't know what to expect.
Well, I know Filoni and Favreau are heading up this the whatchamacallit, the Kenobi series, if I'm not mistaken, or they're in charge of it.
I'm excited for that, but then I also have to think of what they're going to do with Mandalorian next, since they have not scrapped their whole cast, but they've gotten rid of what's her name?
Gina Carano.
Exactly, and so they're going to have to redo their whole storyline.
Well,
a little bit.
Not for Kenobi completely.
Well, not for Kenobi, but for Mandalorian.
Yeah. Which is somewhat a concern. To be honest, once Star Wars was kind of already dead to begin with after 7, 8, and 9, and then once, in my opinion, Mandalorian kind of was sort of fan service, as it felt more like Star Wars than the sequels did.
Yeah.
It wasn't completely the best, but it still felt more like Star Wars. Season 2 felt more like Easter eggs. And then heard Gina Carano was fired, and then found out why.
Which apparently she was really excited for season 3 because it was going to build back up.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, season 2, all it was just Mandalorian season of Easter eggs. That's all it really was.
Yeah. You always have one of those seasons that's kind of just there to fill in space.
Yeah. I think Mandalorian's actually the one Disney Plus show that's actually captivated the audience within the first episode. Because most of them aren't doing that.
Yeah, and I know the Book of Boba Fett, episode 1, I'm more asking myself questions than anything else.
Yeah. First 4 episodes are the most boring pieces of trash I've ever watched. Like, the character doesn't act like the character, and before people say, well, you don't know how the character acts, well, based off what we know of from episode 5 and episode 6, we have somewhat a basis of what he should act like, just from those scenes alone. And then we also have Legends continuity to fall back on. So, I mean, at this point, yeah.
Especially the brief explanation we get for him escaping the Sarlacc pit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just asking myself, how is that possible?
Well, I think in the books, I believe it is way cooler than it is shown in the show or whatever.
If they gave more,
and I believe also Dengar helps him out.
Or if he talked about it,
yeah,
like how he did it, I feel like it would make more sense. But it's not. You see a brief second of him attacking it, and then he just busts out.
Yeah, it's just, some of that stuff is just weird and messed up. And honestly, since he's like building up a bounty hunters guild, which we we will end up. Yeah, this will be shown afterwards anyway, so I can go ahead and go into little small talks about it. I'll probably cut that part out, but anyway, the whole thing about the what's it called? The bounty hunter's like family or whatever, where he's like trying to create his own like house, like in The Godfather. which, in my opinion, is kind of dumb. But it's I'm surprised we don't get like other bounty hunters that we've come and known to actually like Dengar, Bosk.
Yeah.
You know, like some of those guys would have actually been cool to see.
I feel like we might see them later on.
I would like to have seen them this season. Like, I don't want, honestly,
or at least have mentioned Bosk, because Bosk is very important.
And also, he's a Trandoshan. That would have actually been interesting, especially with Black Chrysanthemum, or whatever his freaking name is. I do think the guy looks kind of cool, despite the Mario Kart shells on his shoulders, but...
yeah.
I mean, it still would have been cool, especially since they kind of hint towards him actually being, like, enslaved by the Trandoshans. So...
yeah.
Hence why he has such a grudge against him in the bar fight or whatever. So, I mean, it would have actually been interesting.
Of him having his helmet off so much.
Yeah, he has his helmet off so much. He talks too much. And honestly, I think in an interview...
When he does talk, it doesn't sound as aggressive.
Yeah. Also, I think in an interview, Tamira Morrison, the guy who is playing Boba, was saying he talks too much. He has his helmet off too much. This doesn't sound like Boba. He was actually trying to give some of his lies to the Fennec Shand actress, which, quite honestly, I don't like her character. I think she should have died. In my honest opinion, I think she should have died in episode 5 of Mandalorian Season 1. But,
yeah.
Because, I mean, I don't see why she's still there. And then, it's weird, because I think in Season 2... of Mando, when she is there, she says she owes like a debt to Boba or whatever. But in the Boba Fett series, I think in episode 4 they established that she has no debt with Boba anymore. So they're kind of already breaking their own continuity in a sense. And honestly, that's not unforeseen. Sense. That's happened before with what's his face.
I mean, yeah.
Dave Filoni, because in episode 3 of Star Wars, there's that line where Anakin says, "I have doubled in power since I last fought you," which is in reference to episode 2. But in the new Clone Wars series, not the old micro series Clone Wars, but in the new Clone Wars series headed up by Dave Filoni, they fought like every other Wednesday, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just small continuity errors that honestly,
bringing up the Clone Wars, it actually, because I rewatched a clip when Darth Maul found Obi-Wan on Tatooine, and they had their final duel.
I think that's in Rebels, but yeah.
What?
That's in Rebels. But yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Rebels, I mean.
Yeah, no, you're all good. It's roughly the same art style.
Yeah. But...
where nobody can hear anybody's footsteps.
Do you think the Kenobi show will take place before or after?
Oh, that's a good question. I would say...
Or bounce between.
I think it would bounce in between, and quite honestly, I would like it more if it was Luke going back to Obi-Wan's hut and seeing Obi-Wan's journal, and that being the way that the Kenobi series is brought in.
Now, another thing I have discussed with other friends was, what if the Kenobi series had flashbacks to when he was a Padawan?
That would be interesting.
Like how he became a Padawan, how he was trained.
I don't think they'd go that far.
I'm sorry?
I don't think they'd go that far. I think they would just go into... I think they might go into, if anything, with Qui-Gon training Obi-Wan, they might go back to when Qui-Gon was actually training Obi-Wan when Qui-Gon was alive. So,
well, yeah,
if anything.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay. But, like, I wouldn't think they'd... See, that's the thing. I don't know what they would do, but I've often been wrong in how they would approach some of the stuff, which is not always a good thing.
As the most entertaining they could get out of it, I think that would probably be it.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see
Or have,
that.
like, Force Ghost Qui-Gon talking to him and then have flashbacks of them training back when he was alive.
Yeah. Yeah. But, I mean, it could go either way. Because, I mean, to be honest, I don't know, because Filoni's broken continuity before. And, honestly, Clone Wars, the best thing about Clone Wars is the clones. Like, the clones you get to meet, and D. Bradley Baker does such a good job with the clones. They're honestly the best part of the Clone Wars for most people. At least for me, they are. So, because I'm of the estranged opinion that Ahsoka should have died in Clone Wars. So, I think she served her purpose in there. And I think Lucas actually did also want Ahsoka to die in Clone Wars, but Filoni kind of twisted his arm a little bit to make Ahsoka still live.
I feel like she served her purpose in Rebels as well.
Well, yeah. I also was saying, like, if she doesn't die in Rebels, that kind of just opens up the floodgates to why wasn't she there?
Well, it also then falls under, because in Season 2 of Mandalorian, she showed up.
Yeah. Well, they try to...
she wants nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, well, she tries to explain it a little bit, but, I mean, it's not even... Last time we saw her at the end of Rebels, she was going back to go find Ezra with Sabine. So I'm assuming either they've already found Ezra, but she's still looking for Thrawn. So that leads me to believe that they still haven't found him, and they gave up. However, we have no confirmation on whether or not they've actually found Ezra, whether or not... Because Dave Filoni did hint towards both of them being alive. So, I mean, I don't...
And, I mean, who knows? We might see them in the future.
Yeah. But once again, that brings me up to another point where every single time we see... Like, this one thing where every single time Mando gets stopped by an X-Wing, it's always that same guy. Like, nobody else exists in the New Republic, I guess, task force or whatever. Like, nobody else exists.
Yeah.
It always seems to be that one guy and Filoni, you know. So, I also think I also would like to know how the armor actually escaped from the hordes of stormtroopers, because, I mean, granted, she probably fended off at least a good bit of them, but I don't think she was gonna fight off all, like, a whole horde of them. Like, if they kept on getting sent in, like it seemed to be the case.
With that, I have no idea.
So, I mean, they kind of just say, she's alive, look at that. Like, they don't explain how she escaped. They don't explain how Black Chrysanthemum escaped. Because last time we saw him, he was getting beaten over by a group of Trandoshans, and then all of a sudden, next thing we see him is him staggering out into the line of fire like an idiot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just... And they built him up to be this boss, and then he gets taken out by guys with knives when he has a giant gun. I don't get... Like, you see what I'm saying, though? Like, it's just...
That is very true.
So, Kenobi, I don't think is... If they do it like the Kenobi Legends books, they might have a shot at, like, actually doing an entertaining show. And, like, harkening back to what worked.
But didn't they also announce that they were going to do a Ahsoka series?
Yeah. And I think Tamira Morrison's supposed to be in it as well. And I think he's going to be playing Captain Rex. See, this is the thing I don't like about Tamira Morrison is pretty, I think he's like 50 years old. He's pretty old in the whole... And I think Boba Fett is supposed to be the same age as Han Solo at that point in time. Like, he shouldn't be that much older than Han Solo. So, like, give him maybe 3 to 5 years. He's not that much older than Han Solo.
Yeah, I would say he's roughly in his early.
He would be in his late 20s, early 30s, I would think.
I would say the latest would be 35.
Yeah, because I know that's around the same age as Han Solo.
Yeah.
Actually, no. Han Solo would be in his mid-20s.
Well,
because what are Luke and Leia in, like,
because
their...
he was because he was born after... No, because...
I thought he... Wasn't he, like, what, 10 years old when the Empire came to power or whatever? He was, like, anywhere between 5 and 10.
Because, hold on, Luke was 18, right? Or was he 16?
I think he was... I don't know. I don't know the timeline that well, but I don't know the ages that well.
I think in the first movie, I think in episode 4, he was like 16, 17.
Yeah, and by the end of the thing, he's at least 20, 21.
Yeah. So, yeah, I would say he would probably be roughly 25, somewhere around there.
Yeah, because I would think he would be at least anywhere in between 5 to 10 years older than Luke and Leia.
Yeah.
As that is about the age that he was when the Empire came to power.
Yeah.
So.
And before that, Boba Fett was, well, he is also a clone, but...
Yeah, but he doesn't age as much. Like, he is on...
Exactly.
That was the whole thing about Boba Fett.
We don't know when he was created? Question mark? Would that be the right terminology?
Well, we do kind of know, because at least in the books, he was the prize for Jango, for him actually, donating essentially his genes, his genomes for the Kaminoans to make an army. So essentially, he was one of the first. In fact, he probably would have been the first. And the easiest thing to do would just be, okay, just make an exact copy. You wouldn't have to change much of anything. So.
Okay. So, if that's the case, then at the end of episode 3, he would probably be what?
At episode 2, he was...
Old?
At episode 2, he was about... I would say he was about 8-ish. And by episode 3... that would make him roughly 11, because it was like a 3-year Clone Wars, I think. And when you see the progression from Phase 1 armor to Phase 2, going into Phase 3 with the stupid Bad Batch season.
Yeah.
So
I'd say he's at least 6-7 years older than Han Solo.
Yeah, that'd be a rough estimation. I'd say anywhere from 3 to 6, just to be more on the conservative side. But he's still not that much older than Han Solo, which is my point.
Yeah.
Is he
he
looks really old.
In his 30s.
Yeah. So, but yeah, he just seems really old. So.
I mean, the man's been through some stuff.
I mean, Boba Fett has, but still, it's just the way that they did it with, they also say, like, the Bacta tank healed scars or whatever, and so he shouldn't look that old, is my point. Is, like, even with all the scars being healed, like, if you want to keep in the scars just to make him look older, like you did when he was taken in by the Tuskens, which is the stupidest plotline ever. They're trying to make the Tuskens out to be like this religious cult that just happens to live outside, that just wants to be in peace, like a whole bunch of natives.
I did not.
And yet you remember episode 2 when Shmi Skywalker was taken from her homestead, mind you, and basically enslaved and possibly, this is just my theory, possibly also raped by the position she was in when Anakin found her in the camp. So, given that concept, they also want us to forget about that and just accept that this is the way of the Tusken.
Yeah, because even Obi-Wan Kenobi in Episode 4 said they're very aggressive, violent people.
Yeah. Now, granted, I think in the Kenobi books they actually do they do a decent job of explaining the Tusken way of life, but they don't completely humanize everything they do. They still say, like, yeah, they got problems, but they still got problems with them, but it's just that's just the way that they are, and people have just grown around with that risk being involved in a sense. So I mean, this thing is really confusing. And I mean, they did it in Mando Season 2 as well, where they tried to humanize everything. So, I mean, I also don't get the hand signals, since they're just going ahead and talking. Like, they're already talking. Why do you need hand signals for? I mean, unless you're part Italian,
so I can explain things better to you.
Well, I mean, unless you're part Italian, then you might need some hand signals. But, like...
Maybe they just like speaking with their hands.
Well, that's going to suck in the battlefield. That's the other thing I brought up with Andrew on the Eternals thing. I don't know if I brought it up with you, but my goodness, why would you make somebody... Like, I can maybe understand the fat people being part of a team, but why make somebody who's deaf part of a team of combat people who are going to be fighting for most, if not all, their lives?
In honesty,
like, I know the real reason
why. With the fact, like, she has super speed as her ability.
I know, but also she's also got a.
They could have played it off a bit better. Because she can hear the reverberations of the voice box.
Yes,
so
but she can't. But she
could
can't
100% understand what you're saying without you signing or anything.
I don't
like
think
that.
she can because of the way she screamed at Druig's death.
Fair enough.
So, all that goes underneath the... I don't like Eternals. It makes no sense. But that's neither here nor there.
Movie, I don't understand that movie either.
Yeah. Like, the more you think about it, the more you hate it.
Yeah.
And I know people that really like that movie, and more power to you, but good night, that movie is bad. And also, it ruins the whole thing about, the 6 Infinity Stones, because before there were, I think Wong says, before the universe, there were these 6 singularities, and then the Big Bang happened.
Mm-hmm.
And at the beginning of the thing, in the scrolling text, which is the dumbest way to open a movie unless you're Star Wars, but in the scrolling text, they say that the Celestials were there before time, and then the Big Bang happened. So, and I would think, I don't know, the Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Strange, would know about this beforehand. And I don't care what you say, Wong is not the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah.
That's Doctor Strange, so screw off. Not you personally, but anybody else who thinks that.
No, I know what you meant.
Yeah, it's like, you, screw off, go make a pizza, I don't know.
Okay, was that directed towards me?
Well, yeah, make a pizza.
Okay.
I was joking.
I made a...
It was sarcasm.
Yeah, but it still hurt.
I'll make sacrifices where I can. Because this is the way.
Because this is the way.
I also think that creed is the stupidest thing ever.
Mandalorians, this is the way.
No, the creed about not taking your helmet off.
All I could think of was just having, like, Uncle Sam with his thumbs up saying, this is the way.
No. This is the way. Subway.
Subway.
Mando's the new spokesperson for Subway. This is the way. Subway. So, but also, I think the creed is kind of dumb about not taking off your helmet.
Okay, the helmet thing,
And I get why it's there. It's there to create tension for Mando in situations where he probably needs to take the helmet off. But it is the dumbest thing because all Mandalorians so far that we've seen.
What I want to understand is, so you know the thing where Obi-Wan.
You talking about in Clone Wars?
What?
You talking about in Clone Wars?
Yeah, when Obi-Wan was with the Mandalorian Queen.
Satine?
And I'm pretty sure it's in the some of his books that they had a child together. So, was she still wearing the helmet?
Say what? I don't remember them ever saying they had a child together.
I'm pretty sure.
Nah.
I'm almost
I
there.
know it said they fell in love, and I know it said they fell in love, and that people theorized that Corky was Duchess Satine and Obi-Wan's child because she seemed to be more than an aunt to him, and we never got to see Corky's actual parents. So people were speculating that Corky's actually Obi-Wan and it's Satine's child. However, that was never confirmed. That could be what you're referring to.
But still, the whole thing is, like, two people fall in love. I'm still going to wear the helmet, I'm sorry. You're not going to make me take off my helmet for you.
Yeah, I don't... See, this is the thing. I don't quite get that whole creed. Like, at all. But, I mean... I know why it's there, like, but it makes no sense.
So if a group of Mandalorians are in a room, and someone brings out a plate of dinner, they just stare at it?
Yeah.
Because none of them can take off their helmet.
Or they just barely lift it enough for them to eat, and then that's it.
Yeah, but they're in a room together.
I see. Yeah, but it's barely lifting it above, like, the nose and eating. You know what I mean? Because, I mean, Mando did that in Season 2.
Yeah.
Where he drank, and Grogu was sitting there with him, and he was trying to look underneath the helmet, and he really couldn't see.
Yeah.
So, I got one question for you, though. I actually got two questions, depending on how you answer the first question. Do you like the micro series Clone Wars?
I have seen small bits and pieces of it.
Okay, well, I would hearken you to go watch the whole thing. And
okay.
From the bits and pieces that you've seen, would you say that it is... would you consider it better, on par, or worse than the Filoni Clone Wars?
From what I've seen of it, I've enjoyed it. Whether or not it's better...
I mean, like...
I would say bits and pieces, yeah.
Okay, because, I mean, like, compare... Me looking at it, I look at it as... Okay, this thing basically covers maybe 2 hours in total. For the whole micro series Clone Wars. And it is absolutely full of Star Wars moments. And then all of a sudden, you go to the Filoni Clone Wars, and there's a lot of moments where I'm often bored. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, whereas in the micro series Clone Wars, it doesn't miss a beat. Granted, some of the things aren't that great, but to be fair, they were on a budget.
Yeah.
And Lucas was just like
the fight.
Oh, you were talking about the fights?
Yeah.
Yeah, the fights are pretty good. Some of the stuff in Clone Wars, the Filoni Clone Wars it's just a whole bunch of boring talk. There are some episodes that are good, and then then some episodes that are bad. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas I don't think I have a bad episode in the micro series. I don't think I view one as bad at all. They're
yeah,
all
I'm gonna
really
have to
good,
go
and
watch it now.
they're all really good. They're all about. Well, they have it split up on Disney Plus into like two segments, where one's like an hour, the other one's like an hour and a half, or an hour and 15 minutes, and it's all really good.
Yeah,
So,
I'll definitely have to
It's
go
like a
watch
whole
it.
bunch of just war stories, essentially, is the way you got to view it as. Just a whole bunch of war stories that just happened to take place all during the Clone Wars. So it's pretty sick.
All right.
Have you? I know you said you read the Bounty Hunters Guild book with Boba Fett in it or whatever.
I've read the first one.
Okay, how does that Boba Fett compare to this Boba Fett?
That Boba Fett is Boba Fett.
Yeah, that's what I thought. All right. Thank you for watching Galactic Reviews of this episode of Unrestrained. Join us next time when we talk about another episode of Unrestrained.
That it won't be just Star Wars.
Well, hopefully not. I bring up some Lord of the Rings topics, considering that there's a new show out. But I doubt it. Oh yeah, so apparently, one last thing to tell you. I'm assuming you like Lord of the Rings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that the series is coming out on J.R.R. Tolkien's death day? The day he died is the day the series is coming out.
Huh.
You know that's not a freaking coincidence.
No, 100% not. It was planned.
Yeah. Alright, with that in mind, join us next time on Galactic Reviews.